Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Raw Radiant Health, and I'm Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me. So it is Thursday, September 17th, 2009, and today I'm going to talk about superfoods, because yesterday I was talking about supplements, and I got a few emails after yesterday's video about what was my opinion on superfoods. And should people be eating superfoods? Is it worth the money? How should they eat it? Should they combine it a certain way? All sorts of questions I got. And so I know there's a lot of confusion with superfoods because there's many different health advocates out there that are either really pushing the superfoods and saying eat as much as you can of it, that it should be, a big portion of your diet. And then there's other health advocates out there that are saying, stay away from it. It's a waste of money and it's not good for you. And so I know it gets confusing. It was confusing for me, especially when I first got into the raw food diet, because, it was total two opposite views, and it's you want to do the right thing. And this is all new to you, that you especially want to do the right thing. And I think it's like the worst thing in the world when you're doing something and you feel great about it and then suddenly you're told it's wrong. Or you're doing one thing and it's been working for you and then suddenly you hear something else complete opposite and you're told that that's the way to go, and you're like, oh, I gotta start over and try something else now. So my main position with that then would be to recommend, really, when you're hearing different people's opinions, listen to it, but take it with a grain of salt. Listen to yourself and how you are reacting to the food that you're eating. And I do suggest to experiment with foods and try different things out, because for me that's the beauty of the so-called superfoods, is it's just added foods that you can choose from. Just adds more variety. Superfoods are foods, that's all. And I don't believe in this whole hardcore magical powers that foods have. They've got great nutrition, different foods, but whether they're fresh or they're a superfood, whatever, we need food, and variety is the best way to go. So if you want to add in superfoods, great. If you don't, then don't. One thing, though, that I do want to point out, because I did have someone ask me about allergies, and because for myself example, right? I have food allergies to quite a few different foods, and there's one superfood that I have an allergy to, and someone was asking me about it, whether will my allergy one day go away, and then can I have this food? And I was like, well, who really cares? If I have an allergy to a food, I want to stay away from that food. I don't, I'm not interested in eating it. There's other foods I can have. That one, not being able to have that one so-called superfood is not the end of the world, because there is so much more out there to have. So don't get too caught up in the fact that that foods are, one particular food is going to change your life, because it's usually not the case. It's usually many foods working together that will ensure that you're getting proper nutrition and getting the minerals you need, all of that. So, and it's not so much about the food as it is how it's been grown. Okay, so that's another thing, is that nutrition doesn't only come from the food, it comes from the source and the soil and the water and all of that. So that's something to take into consideration. So pretty much I want to give you my position of superfoods, on the position of being a raw foodist, and also on the position of being a coach, right? Because I help people with their diets, and majority of my clients are they're not aiming for 100% raw, not at all by far, okay? They're just trying to get healthy and know what their options are and what to take out, what really isn't good for them, and what they can bring in that will help them along the way. And so I want to mention how I use superfoods with my clients, and if I use them at all. So pretty much as a raw foodist, my diet changes throughout the year, right? I go from crazy nice summer to brutal minus 40-degree winter. Okay, so because my diet changes and the climate changes, the foods I eat all change. Summertime, I'm eating purely fresh, water-rich food, mostly fruits, vegetables, and greens. Barely any fats, barely any dehydrated food. No nuts, nothing, you know. But then the winter comes along, and if I'm here in this weather, I'm eating much heavier food, I'm eating much more fats. My diet totally changes, and a ton of greens and less fruit, and that's usually at the time of the year when I start actually adding a bit of superfoods into my diet. Because the great thing with superfoods is you're being exposed to exotic foods that you haven't had maybe before. These are things you can experiment with, and it just, you know, the beauty of it is just having more options, especially if you're on a 100% raw food diet. The more options you have, the better, okay? So that's how I look at the benefit of superfoods, is it's just, they're added ingredients you can use. And I don't feel a need ever to base your diet, like a majority of your diet, having just superfoods. I don't think that's a good balance at all. I would not recommend that to anyone. But I would definitely recommend to my clients to play around with these different foods and use these foods to create different dishes. And you know, just, it's like the more that you try out, the more options you have. So that's definitely one thing I do recommend to people. But at the same time, I do give a warning that the healthiest diet is the freshest diet. The fresher and the more water rich, the better. And that's why with superfoods, majority of them are processed. They're dried, they're powdered down, they're all the water's been sucked out of it, and therefore all the life force of it has been also sucked out of it. So you have to keep that in consideration, that the best way to eat superfoods is to mix it with live, fresh, living food. And either that or have it as a part of your diet, but not the majority of your diet. Make sure that you're really eating a lot, especially if you're eating superfoods, that even have even more water-rich food, because you always want to keep yourself hydrated, and you want that life force to come in from the food you're eating. If any food you're eating doesn't agree with you, if you have any kind of allergic reaction to it, or if you don't feel good after eating it, then stop eating it, because it might have great nutrition in it, but if it is causing a bad reaction, it's taking away your nutrition and it's depleting you in some way. It's not worth eating. So that's pretty much all I really want to say about superfoods today. In all, I just believe that you have to just enjoy your food, have fun with things, experiment, be creative, and try new things out, because there's nothing better than trying something out that you really, really like and that just hits a spot and you're just like, I'm so happy to have found this. So have fun with your food, and that's it. And if you haven't yet signed up for our 10-day juice feast, which starts October 1st to 10th, go to my blog now and sign up. All right, and I just received something from someone that was mentioning that they're a little bit nervous about committing and signing up, because 10 days does seem like a hardcore thing to do, but just do it. You never know. You might just be pleasantly surprised. And we're a community together that we're all going to support one another, okay, to do this. So have no fear, sign up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.